The E24 BMW 6 Series first launched in 1976 and was a regular item on Munich's menu until 1989, used to be a terrifying car to own as a classic. Parts were notoriously difficult to source, and when you do find them, it would cost an eye. These days, the 6 Series is more affordable and is a rather sensible buy for two reasons, which we will get to later. The 6 Series was born with a monumental task around its neck. It was to replace the legendary E9 Coupe, better known as the Batman 3.0 CSi. Batman was a sleek machine that captured the imagination of many enthusiasts and helped to establish BMW's reputation as a builder of driver's cars. The 6 Series was given the model code E24, and like many modern coupes, it had roots in the more prosaic four-door sedan of the time. In this case, the car was built on the first generation 5 Series platform, the E12. The first model ran until 1982 when it was replaced by a car that was based on the E28 platform. By now, you're probably scratching your head, wondering why BMW bothered to change the platform while keeping the car looking virtually identical. The fact is, the E28 5 Series looked like a heavily revised version of the E12. The 6 Series received the revised platform from the E28 but kept the E24 model designation. This, to me at least, is the clearest indication that the two different 5 Series models were based on the same but heavily revised platform. This 1983 model comes with a 5-speed manual transmission, a pretty rare occurrence on our shores. And what is even more interesting is that this car used to be a daily driver until it landed in the garage of collector Major retired Shaharuddin Abu Bakar. When it was on sale, the 635 CSi would fetch around 90,000 ringgit, which made it the most expensive BMW at the time. To put it into perspective, a Mercedes-Benz S-Class of the time would only set you back between 50 and 60,000 ringgit in the 1970s. The 6 was the car that a really successful businessman or heirs of old money would go out and buy to flaunt what they have. And it is easy to understand why. Just looking at the car today and that dramatic profile of the stunning shark's nose simply grabs us by the scruff of our neck and demands that our eyes run over every delicate line. The 6 Series, unlike the Mercedes SL, never really looked like a muscular car. The lines were more delicate and the detailing looked almost dainty in comparison. Part of the reason why it looked so different was the fact that the glass house was almost as tall as the flank. In fact, from some angles it looks as if the glass house is actually taller than the metal sides. This 1-to-1 ratio in thickness, the visual balance between the bonnet and the boot, and the slim pillars all around gives the impression of an elegant gentleman rather than an athlete. The cabin is pure 1980s BMW, with the dashboard sweeping towards the driver with rather fussy detailing that made it look super complicated. The center console was home to the first trip computer found in cars. Above the driver's knee is another complicated looking panel, consisting of a series of lights arranged in rows which promise to keep the owners abreast of the car's many systems and features. If it was lit up like a Christmas tree, then it's time to give the mechanic a nice present. We took the 635 CSi on a spin, and it was a delight to hear the silky but slightly mechanical sound of the M30B34 inline 6-cylinder engine. The M30 engine replaced the M90 engines, which provided power for the older beasts. 6 Series with smaller engines had always run M30, but the 3.5-litre engines were developed from the E9 motors. The M90 engine was a down-rated version of the M88 engine, which was in turn developed from the M49 family of competition engines, which found home in the E9 3.0 CSi. The M30 engines had longer strokes and smaller bores, making them far more tractable at low speeds, and you can pull really long stretches of acceleration from as low as 2000 RPM all the way to the red line. This 6-cylinder still loves to rev after all these years, and the white space ratio makes this a nicely relaxed car to drive on long journeys. Thankfully, E24s are relatively sensible to own again. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, as many of these cars were being abandoned out of fear of exorbitant repair and maintenance bills, a significant number of them found a scrap heap and were broken down for components. As a result, parts are now quite readily available if you are willing to scour the internet. and thanks to their reduced numbers, their values are also strengthening. 10 years ago, it would have been difficult to get 30,000 for this car, but now the owner says he has it listed for 75,000 ringgit. And elsewhere, you can find 635 CSi in good running conditions on the market for anything between 50 and 75,000 ringgit. Weak points include the dashboard, which tend to crack and warp, especially at the top part, and there's really no cure for this other than a roof to hide it from the evil sun. Electrics are also not BMW's best points in the 1970s and 80s, so best beware. This car, on the other hand, is enviable, as most of the switches still does as it's told. Even the sunroof still slides open. Keen? Drop us a line at ilham.editorial@gmail.com and we will patch you through to the owner.